Hi, you guys. Hi, hope you're doing amazing so far. Um, Hope you're having a wonderful year. And all is just going great. Those New Year's resolutions, they're still intact. Those goals are still intact. If not intact, they are better. Okay. Yeah, I hope you're doing great. As I said, I hope you're having a great year so far. Um, I'm trying to be okay. I recorded another video using another platform on my laptop. So right now, this is my phone. I recorded this video on my laptop, and yeah, something went wrong, and a whole 15 minutes of a conversation. Yeah, yeah, God, and it's the evening already. Um, yeah, so it's just the frustration. It's frustration. It's frustrating and it's funny at the same time. But anyway, welcome to another evening chats with Soleni. Welcome to my YouTube channel once again, or welcome to my YouTube channel. Period. If it is the first time you're here, my name is Soleni. I am a sourcing specialist who also teach other people how to be sourcing specialist. Okay, so by sourcing specialist, I mean I'm an individual who help property investors who, of course, have the money to invest in property but do not have the time. I help those investors by finding them the properties which they can invest that hard-earned money of theirs in. Okay, so this is a chat for Fab. I'm trying to make sure that every month we have chats like this where we talk about different things. I have my little planner on the other side, so I'm just gonna be making sure that I don't speak too much. I stick to the planner and stuff. But yeah, last month we spoke. Um, I just introduced myself a little because it was my first video like this. So I just introduced myself a little. Um, and then besides introducing myself, I also just spoke of sourcing. I introduced sourcing basically. The one main question I addressed was, why the hell would you do the sourcing thing? Why would you go for the sourcing strategy if you wanna enter the property investing space? And of course the response to that question, which I hear from a lot of people, receive from a lot of people, was a few points. One of those points being the fact that you could use an extra income. I think that one we can relate to. Whether that money you want to use it to invest in your own properties, or you want to invest it in your business, you want to pay off debts, whatever else you want to do, you can use an extra income. And the beauty of sourcing is that it's somebody's gonna shoot me if I say this, but yeah, if sourcing, if it's done right, it's more profitable than investing in property directly at some point. Okay. I do not want to lose clients by saying this. But it all has its advantages. Obviously, when you source, you don't have a property under your name. If you invest directly, you have a property under your name. It all has both. They have their advantages and disadvantages. With sourcing as a strategy, you're able to kind of make sure that every month you have 10,000 rands or 20,000 rands of date, or whatever the amount that you want. Of course, the more you want, the more work that you need to put out there, the more brains that you need to have to be able to see how you can get all this money. So yeah, the thing I wanted us to talk about with regards to this video this month, the chat out of just I want us to have, is just about my background. I Before I talk about how I can help you, I prefer to kind of introduce myself to people. I've already introduced myself, but by this one I mean kind of talking a bit more about my background. I've learned that to build your relationships with people and bonds, you kind of have to be vulnerable a little. And by vulnerable, I mean share even the emotional stuff of where you come from and what motivated what you do today. I think that's necessary in my case because I work with people. I can't be telling you that, hey, I'll take your hard-earned money and invest in my cause, or invest in my sourcing program, generally sourcing specialist program, be it the cause or the coaching, whatever it is. I can't tell you that invest your money there without expecting you to at least understand who I am, and help you decide whether I'm the kind of person you want to walk this journey with or not. Even for property investors as well, I've built the kind of relationships where people are able to invest more than 20 million of their monies, or monies of their cycles, and the deals that I'm suggesting, because of they know the kind of integrity that I have as a young woman. They know what I believe in, they know what I stand for. Okay, and those know what I stand for. They come from, of course, knowing my background a little, and having those little chats with me. This is just the introduction part of this channel, where I'm making sure that if by any chance, because I normally do your 15 minutes introductory calls, or via phone or via Zoom, or your virtual kind of platforms, I want to make sure that when we have that virtual conversation, you already know who I am, you already know what I stand for, my values, my standards as a woman, when it comes to business, personally, and how my personally, spiritually, whatever it is, kind of intercedes or just connects to my business and my way of life as a person, and you getting to figure out whether you can trust me or not. you know so yeah, I just want to make sure that when we have those chats, 15 minutes chats now, our one-on-ones, they're about you, because I would love to get to know you as well. As I said on the previous video, your stories are inspiring, they motivate me, just like I like sharing my own stories, because I am hoping they inspire somebody to take some action. Same goes as well with you guys sharing your stories with me during those 15 minutes. Where are you coming from? What kind of job do you have? What struggles are you having with your job? Why do you want to try the sourcing thing? If you're a property investor, what is it that you do? How much money do you have? And how do you want this money of yours to work for you? What is your dream? In 5 years, you do not want to be working anymore, buying your time back, in a way that if you earn 30,000, you want to make sure that from these properties I'm helping you get, you want to make sure that in about 2 years time or a year, you want to make sure that this 30,000 rents purely coming from your rental properties, so you can decide whether you still want to work, or you now just want to focus on being a property investor. Which, of course, all those kinds of people I appreciate you guys taking the time to chat with me, and it's always just so inspiring having those chats with you. So I thought today, let me just have another chat with you, of course, where I just kind of give you a bit of my background. And as I've briefly touched on the previous video, I am from a disadvantaged background. Um, I'm gonna try and be as elaborate as the previous video, which of course didn't happen. Um, this story of mine, I become a bit emotional when I talk about it, because let's just say it was hard. Everything in life is hard, of course. This is my heart, and it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's mentally, my soul just it moves when I talk about this. I am from a disadvantaged background. I grew up in a little, village called. I was born in a village called Mlozane, and I grew up in another village called Izengolweni. These villages, they are under they are under Potchefstroom. If you don't know Potchefstroom, they are under Durban. If you don't know Durban, well, I don't know how to describe it. Just say they are under KwaZulu Natal. That's where I am from. So I was born in this area, this place that didn't have electricity, we didn't have water, the shops were a million miles away, the schools as well, they were a million miles away. When we needed water, I had to go kind of just fetch those from the rivers, or that from the rivers. Same goes as well with regards to electricity. We were using no electricity. We were just using candles. Would fetch wood as well from where there is wood, to be able to cook. We had rondavels. My home had we had 3 rondavels, and we were using cow poo to polish those. That is the kind of home I come from. Those houses which were my grandma, the other generation, kind of built by hands, clay kind of rondavels, and using grass to be able to build the roof and stuff. So that's the kind of place I was born in. Um, it's always been back then. It was my mom and my grandma. It was just the three of us. The reason why it was the three of us is because I grew up in a community around people, of course, I share the same with, but they were the kinds of people, us black um, black communities, black families, especially the the Makaya or village like ones, if I can say. I'm not sure about you suburban people. I don't know how you do it, but where I come from, one family can be categorized. The ones who have a bit of money or some employed kids or employed family members, they stick together, and the ones who are struggling, they just left alone to figure it out by themselves. So we were one of those struggling families, and as a result, I don't know, my father's side, my father died when I was a few weeks old, so my mother says never met him, and even the family members that side, I just met them along the way where we were in I don't know, shops trying to buy stuff. I'll meet them, and my mother will say, "That is your aunt." My aunt, you know. Like that. I've never really had a relationship with them. uh, I don't know them. Even my family from my mother's side, I don't know them as well. The same categorizing kind of situation. We didn't have much, and so we're not, given all that attention, support system. So after my grandma died, we had to move because my mom needed a bit more support. She needed to just build a family of her own, not feeling the pressure of being surrounded by another busy people, but the busy people being useless because she doesn't have much. They are just taking care of themselves, each other. We moved to another place. Also because she wanted me to be able to attend school. Back where we were, the schools were very far. My mom was not so excited about her daughter walking for almost an hour to school. So we moved to this area which was closest to a school. It was a hostel of some sort. A hostel where so it was a woman kind of hostel. It was not such a healthy environment, of course. We stayed there. This hostel is in Golweni now. We moved to another area in Izingolweni where we moved to another one bedroom kind of house. We were renting it for, I think it was about 50 rands per month, 20 to 25 rands. Yes, 25 rands per month. We stayed there for years, throughout all my primary school and almost all my high school years. We stayed there. We stayed in this one room which was also made of clay, which would fall apart during rain and make my uniform look all dull, and I'll be this dirty kid in primary school, and then I'll be bullied for that. So that's generally how I grew up as a young little girl. High school, that's when my mom started saving, of course, towards our first house. She was unemployed herself. She worked at this firm. They were I don't know how to describe the thing, but they were doing some little odd jobs for this firm. She would get those hundreds and fifties, and we would survive of those. And then she would work for this Mashonis. I think that's how she managed to actually save up to a point that she built us a home. Same in Izungoleni, she got a stand in Izungoleni. You know how cheap it is to find stands in villages. You don't pay much for it. You just pay the induna to kind of find you a little place where you can build your house and just pay as well for the alcohol for the men of the village to kind of help you, more like a housewarming party of some sort. So we had that. I had my first home then. It was around about 2011, 2012, 2013. I finished my metric. Luckily, I'm a hard worker. When I focus on something, I focus on something. I don't care whether it doesn't, come naturally. Back in high school, I knew that I was not really a top student kind of person, but I told myself that, what, I don't freaking care that I'm not the distinction kind of girl. Still, I am gonna create myself to be a distinction kind of girl. I didn't get the distinctions. I got your level 6 and 7s for metric, which enabled me to be one of the top 5 students under Ugo municipality. We had a few schools, which of course, out of those, I think more than 10 schools, I was number 5. between, yeah, within your number five, top five student. Um, from there, I wanted to study medicine, but things happened. They lost my applications, just a lot of complications. I ended up we accounting stream, doing within this CASA route I've briefly spoke about before, studying towards being a CA. And first year, second year, third year, fourth year, I got my undergrad 2017. And after just speaking to several people and having mentors who were CAs, I realized that, in high school I worked hard. In varsity, I am working hard. CTA is freaking hard, I'm being told. Articles, it's even harder. Like, it gets harder when you qualify as a CA. Working as well, it's harder. Working in family, it's even harder. I was like, hell no, 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 no. I liked working with people. That's why I even wanted to do medicine, because that part allows me to work with people. um, After this undergrad, I met this life coach, which my bursary kind of got me, to just make sure that our mental state, of course, was okay. I was blessed. Hey, that bursary kind of helped me. I didn't worry about all the finances at all. They covered me for all those 4 years. And this life coach of mine, during those sessions, that's where I just realized that, what, I want to do what you do. I knew I liked working with people, but after just sitting down and talking to you, I want to do what you do. I want to be a life coach. That's how I ended up saying, what, the CASA thing, it gets harder and harder. Let me sit down with myself and, take a year and figure out what kind of hard do I actually want to do, because that's one I certainly don't want to do. Okay, so that's when 2017 I graduated, and then of course 2017, that's when I had my daughter as well. That's another motivation factor. I couldn't go back and study full time after that, because now I have a child, and I'm in no mood of having my mother struggle with this child. The father of this child is going through his own things. He is a postgraduate kind of person. He's very educated himself, but he was struggling to find a job, and he's working in a filling station, being a petrol attendant. He's trying to study something else because he's thinking that would help him get a better job. He's trying to study his journey towards his MBA, thinking that would somehow kind of give him more opportunities. He's stressed out because of that, and you know how men are. When they're going through stuff, they go under, and they just leave you handling everything. And I think us having a child, kind of just, the pregnancy kind of made him panic a little, and he kind of withdrew emotionally and stuff. So I had to figure things out myself. After that, I was like, you know what, I can't go back study full time. I have to take care of my daughter. And of course, I don't want to make this guy carry everything. This is both our responsibility, and I can't have my mother carry this responsibility as well. It's our responsibility, and our responsibility means I also had to carry my part. So I wanted to find a job, couldn't find a job. It's hard finding jobs in South Africa. I couldn't find a job. My mom was alone back home, of course, staying with my daughter in one occasion, until I took my daughter to kind of stay with me as well, because I didn't want my mother to go through the whole process of raising me hard and raising my child hard as well. Uh, and yeah, took my child. I tried to find a job, it was not possible. That was now 2018. Tried to find a job, it was not working. I couldn't go back to school because the bursary now, of course, it was gone. And even if I go back to school, I knew I hated that. It traumatized me to a certain level, because I didn't love it. Now the funny thing is that traumatized me, but doing what I do now, it's harder. I don't know if it's harder, but I think it's harder compared to my undergrad. Yes, it's harder, because right now sometimes I don't sleep at all, but I'm happy. Like, I'm happy, I'm joyful, like it comes from the inside. I'm happy, and I'll do it over and over again. I wouldn't regret it. I've had so many delays, you guys, in my sourcing journey. Like 2019, when I started sourcing, there were delays. 2020, all 2020, I didn't source because of COVID-19. 2021, that's when I actually started feeling as if I am doing this and I'm good at this and I'm succeeding at this, you know. But still, I'm happy about it, regardless of all those setbacks. So yeah, going back to your 2018, tried finding a job, couldn't find a job. Tried even forex, tried a few things. Eh, tried forex. You know, them they kind of pitch this, you know, advertise this rather as a get rich quick scheme, and it's not. It's also another skill, discipline kind of situation, or kind of parts which you need to be focused about and have some love for it, because it's not so profitable when you're starting out. You lose money quickly as you gain money. Sometimes you lose money more than you gain money. So the thing is, it has its own challenges. The challenges I was not so fascinated about, because of course another thing which I didn't love. That's when I, you know, through googling and trying to figure out how to make money online, you know, those kind of things, I ended up to this ad about, you know, a property seminar in Sandton. I was already in Gauteng back then, by the way. I moved from, because I studied in Walter Sisulu University in Tata. I moved from Tata to Gauteng 2018. 2018, we were living in this like one room in Ekasi in Cosmos City. We were renting a one room there. So that means I was close to your sense, and I'm close to Fourways because I'm still in Cosmo, just shifted from one part of Cosmo to another. So I went to that seminar, and then from that seminar, the aha moment, it hit me. I was like, I'm not letting this one go. I don't freaking know how the hell am I supposed to raise all this money they are looking for, but I'm gonna try. And believe me, right there is just the 7,000 rands. After the 7,000 rands and going through the training with my then business partner, the father of my child, they told us that you need more. You know, you need to enroll for the mentorship if you want more support, and the mentorship was a whopping 100,000 rands. The other packages, I think the cheapest package was like 15,000, and it was nothing. It was, you know, for those already established people. For me, who had nothing, was starting from zero, you needed all the help possible. The only package that seemed to work was the 100,000 rands one. And right there, some other person would have been discouraged and, you know, just quits. I couldn't. Something just went off. Like something went off. I just told myself, you know, that, you know what, I'm gonna figure this one out. You know, prayed about it, fasted about it, you know, everything. And everywhere I go, I'll just find that little voice that says, go ahead, try the best that you can. It's gonna happen. Like how the hell it's gonna happen? That response I never really had, but I just knew that somehow it's gonna happen. To try and raise that money, I partnered with somebody else who would help, you know, go to the training with me, pay the 50,000 rand, and then the other 50,000 rand I had to raise myself. Okay, one problem solved, but still another part of that problem remaining. 50,000 rands. Remember, I'm unemployed. I don't have a rich aunt. I'm literally secluded. My mom died that same year, towards the end of October. I buried her in November, and she died just after she helped me with, of course, the training. She's the one, by the way, who paved the way for this sourcing thing. She paid for my part of the 7,000, so I can be able to do the training. My mom just died, and now I have to find 50,000 rands. I have a child which is now here with me because, of course, nobody can raise the child for me. I don't have another family member back home, and all the responsibilities, they just fell on me. You know, everything back home, I'm the one who's responsible for it. They unemployed me. You can imagine the stress, the grieving, you know, and, you know, all these brick walls, you know, that I'm facing. Had to figure out how I can raise the money. I tried your online fundraising, they didn't work. They just didn't understand what I was trying to explain to them, what I was pitching to them. You know, I tried, you know, I tried so many things. I tried getting people on your Facebook to understand what I'm doing so they can at least donate or something. But of course, you know, people in South Africa, we do not understand financial education. When you ask somebody to fund your some previous debts in UNISA for a degree of some sort, they would understand. But if you ask somebody to find financial education, they'll think you're nuts. They would not listen to you one bit. Just like some of you guys refuse to invest in this kind of education. When somebody tells you that you need to invest 5,000 or 10,000 in figuring out how to source, in figuring out how to invest in property properly, you run for the hills, because still it's that mindset of ours as people that financial education is not worth it. The same thing that pays you way more than that degree of yours or diploma or whatever that is not helping you find the job you needed or you thought you would find, you find it more valuable than something that is like this, a sourcing thing that can give you 10,000 rands per month or 20 or 80, that can enable you to buy a property in 2 years, a property of your own in 2 years or in a year. You're still not valuing it, you know. You still want somebody to give you that information for free, or you still think you can find that kind of information on Google, while you cannot find information on how to become an accountant or become a doctor or just become a teacher on Google. But you still expect to find information like this, like financial education related information on Google, you guys. But let me not grill people here. This is not the purpose of this video. And they just I just wanted, of course, to share my journey. I fought trying to raise that money, and after some time I just started to speak to people who I was meeting. Yeah, I don't like I don't like self-belief, self-esteem and all of those things. But I don't like kind of asking things from people. I think it's probably because I was raised by a proud black mother, single mother to be a bit more specific. She did everything for me. That woman was my mom, my father, my brother, my sister, my cheerleader, my mentor, my coach, my whole family, my everything. And that kind of gave me that level of wanting to be self-sufficient. It really helped me to be self-sufficient as a young woman and as a mother as well. I can handle my own things. So now I'm in the stage where I have to ask people for money, and then try to convince people how passionate about this I am, and beg people, and then people not believing a damn thing I'm saying. But finally, I kind of spoke to my then partner, the father of my kids, and he finally believed me after kind of trying to convince him after a few times. He believed me, and he took out a loan to kind of help me study. The agreement we had, of course, was that the company, which would be the sourcing company, the property investing company, would be ours. We started with the journey. He gave me the money, the 38,000 rands of a loan, you guys. A petrol attendant taking out a loan because he's this young person who is frustrated about how difficult things are. We want to make a difference. Took out this loan, gave me, I had 2,000 rands in my pocket. The 2,000 rands plus the 38 food. We still had turned short. So I had to find somebody else who would help. I reached out to Sipo. Sipo helped as well. He was an accounting intern back then, and somehow this gentleman saved up to around about 10,000 rands, and he gave me all his hard-earned money and be like, I understand your vision, go ahead. And then when you have made it, you'll be paving a way, you come back for us, so we also can be able to do this. So it was now a mini Stockville. We had that agreement where I know that after my training, I would make sure that this is not just for me, but it's also for Mvundo, the other gentleman who took out a loan. It's also for Osipo, so that they can be able to, get this financial education themselves and use it towards being successful, towards building these empires they want, because we know that the system is broken. Having a job does not guarantee you that you're gonna be successful. Being educated, Mfundo is educated, but still is not finding the job he wants. You see, Paul, he's an accounting intern, and he's realizing that the higher you go, the harder these things are, the more it demands from you. It demands so much that you become a robot. You don't do what you love anymore. You do what you have to do because you're worried about bills and stuff. So we just wanted to change all of that. We had that in common. I did not want to go to the whole red race thingy. And I was terrified of the fact that, of course, I didn't have a family anymore. Where would I go? I don't have a brother, I don't have a sister. I am by myself and I have a child. So I had to figure something out fast. And in terms of an education, I could study full time, but who's gonna take care of my daughter? Because my mom was gone. I did not have a relationship with the other side of the family for my daughter. I had to figure things out. And besides that, I just dying ordinary killed me. I know that finding a job being the CA would be great, but still I would feel ordinary because everybody can be a CA, but nobody can be Soleni busy. So I really had to figure out who Soleni is and be Soleni busy for me to be, be myself, knowing that the recognition I wanted from becoming a CA, I would find it there. Knowing that the gift, there's something that I'm doing which satisfies me, working with people, I would somehow find it within this property space. We managed to get that 50,000 rands. I went through the education. I started with my education. June, I had different mentors. I had my coaching and mentorship was for two parts. Your residential is in your more one by one kind of houses, and your high density as well. By high density, I mean your big 20 units, 15 units kind of buildings, 42 units kind of buildings, where I now source to investors who are willing to invest 20 million of their hard-earned money or hard-earned monies of their associates as well, 15 million, 8 million, 9 million kind of deals. And of course, with the residential being your 1 million, standalone houses, your 500,000 rents kind of apartments kind of situation. I started June with my journey. Luckily, I had a mentor who was very supportive. On top of paying so much for my mentorship, my mentor was very supportive and she went an extra mile. She made sure that wherever I came short, of course, she would connect me with other people who would be more of assistance. I had help from other sourcing partners who were like, Soleni, we're realizing that you're having a tough time. We're going to handle some duties which are harder for you. You just handle the ones which are easier. We're going to go 50-50 on those duties combined, and then we're also going to go 50-50 on the commission as well. 2019 June, just after June, I realized I was pregnant with my second child. Here you can imagine the disappointment, not necessarily disappointment, just the hopelessness that was lingering there, especially in a space where I'm in Gauteng, we're living in this one room. The person I'm living with or the people I'm surrounded with, they just don't get it. I am grieving my mother. I have responsibilities back home. I have a child already, which is a responsibility. I'm trying the sourcing business thing and it's hard because I don't have a car and walking to viewings can be a bit challenging, especially in this case since you're pregnant. You don't have money. I can't even say I'm gonna Uber around because I don't have enough money. I would have that 100 rands, which can take me from Cosmo, because I'm living in Cosmo, that one room in Cosmo, to, for example, in Randburg in Windsor. That's where I started my sourcing. And then in Windsor, I would have to walk to houses because you know how suburbs are. The taxi can take you to a certain point, but you need to kind of Uber to get to a house, inside the suburb. So I had to walk. I was doing that walking game for months while pregnant, and some months I would not work, some months I would work. So it's really even hard for me to even say it took me this long before I closed my first deal because some months I wasn't working. I was not okay. My pregnancies are really hard. I get really, really sick, and besides, I was not in a correct emotional space. You guys, I was dying. Is there such a? I was dying. I was not okay. It was so bad that, of course, the environment did not allow me to grieve or go through those things properly. I think perhaps it's the black people kind of thing that mental states not really something we are alarmed about or something. If one person does, they'd get over it. If you start complaining about it, they think you're just being dramatic. So I would wake up in the middle of the night, pregnant me. My daughter is now asleep, so at least I have some time. The people I'm living with, they are asleep, so I don't need to play strong or try to avoid making people feel uncomfortable. I have to go to the toilet, cry, 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 release, 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 because it is the one way I could make sure that I don't fall into depression, and kill my son who's growing inside me. And then cry, 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 go back to sleep, sleep for those few hours, wake up and try again. wake up, take a taxi to the viewing to try and get the deal, try that until of course I started working with other sourcing specialists. They came in mostly when I had to stop sourcing because I was 9 months pregnant, and walking in that state was not working. Gave birth to my son Feb, January, around about it Feb, actually Feb. That's when we closed our first deal, by the whole division of task kind of thing. We closed our deal then, and and it was yeah, that's when I realized that, what, it's doable, because I was unable to judge whether it's doable or not before, because I wasn't working consistently. I was not okay most of the time, if not all the time. I was not okay physically, I was not okay emotionally, I was not okay mentally, I was not okay financially. It was just horrible, like everything was going wrong almost every day. We closed that first deal, and my duty back then was just to, I'm good at talking to investors. Somehow it comes naturally. I can't explain it to you guys. I can't even brag about it because I don't know where it comes from. Actually, I do. It's a God-given gift. Some people can sing, some people can dance, naturally. Me, something happens when I'm working with people, and it happens naturally. I don't even plan it. And I'm grateful to God, and I'm grateful to those people who take a second to hear me. So my duty was to find an investor who can invest in this property, and that investor came up with around about 1 million. They got the property, and then they pay us the commission. The commission was about 5% of the purchase price of the property. uh Generally, without going through the whole mathematics, I got 10%, with 10,000 rands from that property, from sourcing that property. 10,000 rands was the commission divided 3 ways, because I was working with other two sourcing agents. We partnered with other two sourcing agents, and from there I never looked back. Of course, just after celebrating the first commission, COVID-19 came, freaking COVID-19, and then it cleaned me out. After that, of course, I closed my own deal, bought an investor for it, and then after that situation, COVID-19 kind of just shut down, and it cleaned out all savings, all plans I had. They were just, I wasn't sure about those anymore. So that's why when I'm doing my 5-year plans and kind of revising my goals in terms of where I want to be in terms of the sourcing business of mine as a sourcing agent and as a sourcing agent coach and trainer. Where do I want to be in 5 years? It's really hard to decide, because I feel like those 3 years is in 2018. Okay, property does okay. 2018, 2019, and 2020, they were just, they were cancelled. I was just trying not to die back then. I only started to do this and being alive 2021, which was literally last year. There were challenges then, but still it was better, because I've already gotten the money. I know it works. COVID-19 is now a little bit better, so people are going back to work. Properties are being sold. Investors are looking for properties. People are losing jobs. They want to take the last bit of money they have and invest it. And that's when I kind of established myself a bit more, but I do not want to dwell into that. We're going to talk about my sourcing journey now, as in the mistakes I made, the things I do now better, which I want you to adopt yourself as a sourcing person. How was my mentorship? What else can I advise you to do during your own mentorship as well, to make sure that that money you paid for that mentorship, it is worth it. The money you paid for that cause, you are actually be able to reap the returns for all of that. Okay. We're gonna talk about that on, let's say, perhaps the next chat. Okay. The chat for this month, or chats which we can do next month or this month. As I said, I try to make sure that at least every month we have these kind of chats, because I want you to get to know me. I want to build a nice indirect working relationship with you, and I hope to inspire at least just one person, just one, not many people, just one. If it's many people than one, then my purpose would have been fulfilled, because, as I said, one of my biggest skills is relates to people, and my purpose is just to give people hope that they can, of course, be better financially, and that they can be better mentally as well. That's where the whole property thing and that coaching thing I told you about comes in. um coaching thing, which means a girl still needs to study. I cannot die without being doctor. So they need this still, even though I'm not going to be the doctor of medicine, but the doctor of psychology. But anything that empowers people and helps people, be better, from the mentally part, and then of course the other parts, because if you can think right, it's easier to do right as well. Okay, so if you can deal with the thinking and then deal, of course, with your financial capabilities, we have done almost half the work. If you have the money, if you have the right thinking, you can somehow have the money. If you can have the money, imagine what you can do. Imagine with what you can do with the right motivation and the right financial reserves. So those are my two focus in terms of life purpose in general. I believe that is one thing God created me for. That is one little problem as a young person. I feel like God wants me to kind of contribute towards fixing, empowering people mentally, and then also guiding people in terms of how can they break through financially in a way that allows them to focus on what they are born to do, like I'm doing what I'm born to do, and focus on, of course, their families and just generally buy their time back, buy their freedom. Okay, so that is it. We're already at 40 minutes. It was supposed to be 30 minutes. um I really needed to share this with you because I hope it does make a difference. Whether you are employed, you have better privileges that I did, like as in you have the money, please do something about it. Please. It's for your own sake, for the sake of your kids as well. If you already have some privileges, make sure that your kids, they have better, they have even nicer problems. Okay, if they have horrible problems and you had horrible problems, you have even another thing as well that is supposed to push you even extra. Like me, I had horrible problems, and I was realizing that my kids are going to be having horrible problems if I don't wake up, and that kind of pushed me. It kind of, it turned me into a zombie. How exhausted I was, how broken I was as a person due to everything going wrong, in life generally. Ngisa relationship here, ngisa, I have children which I have to take care of, career ayikho. I'm gonna have to go to Zulu now. Some things you can't explain in English. Bad guys, kwakunzima. Like ngangiseka left, right, and center. I had to kind of figure things out. Okay, I hope this kind of makes you different. It motivates you a little. And until our next little evening chats, I can't wait. You guys, you have a wonderful year. Keep those New Year's resolutions intact. And then I hope you really hit those goals of yours. Of course, I'm available for your 15 minutes introductory calls. I'm gonna leave just my contact details before. You can reach out to my WhatsApp to kind of organize those. If you want to inquire about, as a property investor, you want me to help you with your sourcing, okay? You want me to help you find some deals, I can help you with that. I do Gauteng, I do KwaZulu Natal, and I do Northwest as well. Okay, you can reach out to me. And then when it comes to, of course, in terms of the sourcing, I don't work alone. I have other amazing people I work with. The people I have trained and coached, and of course some others are just independent people. We went through coachings ourselves as individual, and then we just came back at some point and worked together. That's how I'm able to access other provinces. And if you are one of those people who want to join my team as in source with me, either you have a group of investors, or mainly one of those people who are good at finding those, because I do have investors. That's my main skill. When it comes to partnerships, I normally focus mostly on that because it's what I'm really good at. If you're one of those people who want to join my team, by means, of course, of going through an education with us, because that's the one part which is open, the route which is open right now. You can go through the education with us. We have sourcing courses. We have the coaching as well, coaching that comes with the partnership. The sourcing course is just the sourcing specialist course, and then the second part being the coaching is called a learn and earn coaching program, which means you learn as you earn with me. Okay. If you want to inquire about those, you want to chat about those as well, please feel free to send me a WhatsApp and we can organize an introductory call, either a WhatsApp call or a virtual call, a video call, Zoom or just a WhatsApp video call, anything. Okay, just please feel free to reach out to me. Other than that, thank you so much for chilling with me this evening. Um, and we are gonna be talking soon. Okay, we're gonna be talking about those little tips I have based on my journey soon. Okay, and of course I have some other projects as a sourcing specialist coming in, and I'm just gonna be taking you through those as well, making sure that you apply all these lessons with me, and you see how what qualifies me to say this is the sourcing course, what qualifies me to say I can coach a person to become a sourcing specialist and source successfully in South Africa. Okay, so bye, you guys. We're gonna be chatting soon.